Oh, protection? Oh, shoot. Happy birthday.
I need to unmute my mic. That'll be helpful on the Twitch. Perfect. All right. Well, I guess yeah, we'll give it a couple minutes, see if some people are gonna hop in.
So sad. I spent like I don't even know how much. How many did I have? I have like 30K, I think, channel points, and I spent it all on my team, and and I
that's
lost.
that's your
I was so confident.
a big mistake right there when you spend it all on your
I
own
know.
team as a GM.
I was so confident.
Just spend
I'm
all
not
your.
even lying.
That's why you gotta hedge. You gotta hedge the happiness. You put it. That's why you bet it on the other team. So if your team loses, then you win some channel
True.
points. And then if your
Yeah, you're
team
so
wins,
smart.
then you're like, yes, we did it.
Were you like a therapist or something? It was great.
Yes, something like that. Something like that maybe. Yeah, good times. Good times with the channel points. All right, we'll let it. Yeah, we'll give it like 2 or 3 more minutes, and then we'll get started and we'll continue on. I just want to make sure everyone can kind of hear the gist of everything before we go on, and everyone's confused about what's happening. So you do with your channel points. Good call. You hedge the channel points, or you spent them all like Cozy did and lost them.
No.
That'd be so sad. Did I want to see if someone has more channel points than me? I want to figure out. We need to get like a channel point leaderboard. You lost your channel points. Rest in peace. But you caught the dub. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. We need to do a fact check on who has the most channel points. Let's see who it is. I think it might be me. I can lie. But then again, I don't spend mine that much on there. So I got to see how long it's gonna take before someone starts ending the stream randomly
I know,
with
right?
a million channel points.
So we in the middle of a freaking session.
Yeah,
What the heck?
I have 666,000 channel points. Got a couple channel points. Yeah. All right. Anyways, so I guess we'll get things started here. So yeah. So basically, if you guys are new to the town hall, or if you're just listening along, we're doing this in Discord. So feel free to hop in and feel free to ask questions. What we'll do to start is we're going to go through all the questions in the town hall questions chat that have been posted in there as text channel questions. We'll kind of go through all of those, get through as many as we can. We'll leave the channel open for until about 8:30, and then we'll close it off just to make sure we have enough time to answer all the questions that get put in there, answer them all accurately, and then at the end, once we get through all those ones that have been posted, we'll kind of open things up for more questions to be asked. Either can come up to the stage, or you can throw it in the chat again, and we'll answer them. But yeah, essentially we'll just be talking. It's basically just a way to answer your guys' questions. So feel free to throw whatever you have in the channel, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So all right, let's get things started here with the first one. So the first question says, can we get a role or public list of players that are signed up, pending, and accepted for next season? Yes, we can actually. I've added something on the past public player sheet. If you go on to the season 11 public player sheet, there is there's a new sheet on there that says S12 interest players, essentially it'll have the Discord name, in-game name, and then the status of the players on there. So if you're a GM or a player trying to figure out your status, this will be a good way to look to see how things are looking based on the interest forms. So yeah, we did add that. It wasn't too bad to add on there, but hopefully that'll help GMs a little bit out. We'll still be end up messaging people. Again, the mods will just to try to get people back, but yeah, that's a good way to check to see if you're accepted, pending, you know, whatever. If you submitted it already, so hopefully it'll help limit some questions down on that one. But yeah, much that one. Um, Next question here says, if enough players are brought to the league to get provisional running again, can we do like season 8 where the provisional teams were not included in orgs so that it could test players becoming GMs of one team and get to know how they do before promoting them to a whole org? Does any one of the other managers want to take this one?
Yeah, so basically, there's two things to look at with that question. It depends on how many like good GM candidates there are out there. Now, if there's a good season, like where we have a bunch of people, that might be a possibility. But if at all possible, we want to try to keep the provisional orgs or provisional teams with the org itself. So trying to mismatch like the players with a different team's org, that might be a little counterintuitive for a lot of people. So if at all possible, we want to try to keep it within the orgs themselves.
Yeah, and something I'll say if you're one of those prospective GMs, you're trying to get a GM position, a good spot or a good place to try to look for things is see if you can find yourself in an AGM position in whichever org. I know a lot of GMs are looking for active AGMs to kind of help out, especially teams that if we do bring back provisional, if we do have 6 teams again, people are definitely gonna be looking for AGMs that can really help with scheduling and all the sort of stuff that the GMs do. So that could be a good way to kind of get your name out there and possibly do that. But I think DJ said it well. So all right. So next one, it says, can the rules be changed to put people in leagues based on their last and current season peak instead of the peak from the last 3 seasons? It will prevent anyone from smurfing down and letting their rank deteriorate to a lower league. So I guess DG, I'll probably throw this one back to you so you can talk a little about this one.
Yep. So we currently do the past 4 Rocket League seasons or the past year on Rocket League Tracker. So we're already one step ahead of you.
This is true. This is true. And then I guess something too that we're planning to do. Yeah, I think lowering it to 3 seasons or less would definitely make it a little bit easier to sandbag or smurf. So we're trying to take more seasons, not less. And something we're considering for next season possibly is trying to find a way to how can I word this accurately? Trying to find a way to prevent sandbagging and or smurfing based on MMRs. So we're testing a few things just to kind of see how they are working out. So that way, we'd much rather have people in higher leagues, maybe a little bit higher of a league than their skill is, as opposed to them being way higher skill in a lower league. Essentially sandbagging into that league. So we're looking for ways to combat that. We always are, and we may be implementing something coming up for the next season to kind of prevent sandbagging. But we'll talk about that more once it actually comes to fruition. So, all right. So next one is kind of a long one here. So the suggestion is, can we allow players within 5 MMR of the league above to submit an MMR resubmission form after a certain amount of weeks under the following conditions? They've been a free agent. 2, they haven't been given an opportunity to play, whether by signing or free agent sub. And then they also have not received an opportunity to do so. That way they can't just get by faking activity. Players can only go up, not down. We possibly see something like this implemented next season. So this is a pretty good suggestion here. It's something that is definitely a possibility, I would say. The one thing that it will be highly subjective to is the player counts in the lower leagues. That's the big thing we look at, and that's kind of why you guys will see when we do the schedule and we close those MMR resubmission forms really quickly, is because we push the boundaries as close as they can get, so that way we can get as many people playing in the league as possible. That's why it's really important that you guys fill your interest forms, and if you know players that are going to play, make sure they're submitted before we release the format, because we try to get as many people playing as possible. It's a lot harder for us to change the format afterwards, to get more people to play. We can only go based off what we have. We can't just assume we're gonna get 30 more people. We always do get more people that sign up after after the format and once the season starts, but we can't assume that. We don't want to take any risks like that and have no free agents to be used. So but it is this is definitely a possibility of something that we can do. I think it would be, like I said, it would have to be league dependent, and I guess management approved, essentially, to move people up. And yeah, obviously, if they're pretty close to that MMR, it could be something that we could do. But again, it depends on how many free agents we have in the lower league, and if it'll leave the league in a bad state without a lot of high end free agents or something along those lines. So, but yeah, it's not a bad suggestion. And then this is kind of I'll answer the second part of that question too. Is yeah, we are definitely working on getting through suggestions. I know we've typed out we typed out through about like 50 of them, just hadn't posted them yet. We wanted to get through most of them at once, but I think we're through like through 50 of them. That's gonna be one of our goals here, to really catch up on the suggestions this off season for real this time. Not none of that. We're gonna try to catch up. We're actually gonna get through them and to catch back up on suggestions so we can be back current. We do still read them and still look at them, and if there's anything super pressing on there, we have implemented quite a few of them. I would say they just haven't all been answered, so that'll definitely be something that we'll be able to do going forward. So yeah, that answers that. And then next one says, can we attach people's trackers to their names in the player sheet? So yeah, this is always an interesting topic that people bring up. It's something we could consider for the future. Right now, it's not a big priority of ours, in regards to trackers being added. I think Mal's not here to save me or correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is something that we're going to try to implement into the website, which Mallow has done a lot of work on, and it's actually, I think it's really close to being published and being used. But we're trying to make sure we get a good product. I mean, the website is live and available that you guys can look at and see what's been working on it so far. But I think that is something to where once we build, I guess, player profiles on the website, that could be a spot where we could see trackers, like a main tracker attached to each player. It'd be a lot easier to do that there than trying to implement it onto the public player sheet. So I would keep an eye out in that regard to the website, but it is something we could consider attaching to trackers. But at the moment, we don't really see that it's completely necessary. All right. Next one says, can we do the format of the league like RLCS and have qualifiers instead of playing through all the weeks and then going into playoffs? So I don't think the format of the league will be changing too drastically anytime soon. I mean, obviously we did the full reset, which was kind of a cool thing that we did last season, which a lot of people liked. I think it brought a lot of chaos and unpredictability to the league. But I don't think there's going to be qualifiers or anything of the sort like that. We're probably going to keep the main league play aspect with a regular season and then postseason. That's kind of a big appeal of the draft-based league in Nemesis, to keep it along those lines. So, yeah, I don't think there's gonna be any major changes. Obviously, we're open to suggestions and trying new things, but I don't think this one is quite on our radar at the moment. So, are there any updates to player retention moving forward so that current and future GMs have time to prepare? I don't know if anyone else wants to step in and answer this one? I've been talking for a little bit. Anyone has any ideas on this one?
I think I'm gonna have to ask Jax to clarify exactly what he means by that question, because there's a couple different ways you could look at it. Like are you looking at it from the GM's perspective to prepare more for the next season, or more so the players so that they can have some incentive to coming back or something? So yeah, if you can come with a little bit more clarification on that question, that would be greatly appreciated.
In the town hall chat, he said GM's perspective, like to know how many players can be re-signed.
Okay, so that is something that if we do limit, has not been decided yet. So that is to be determined.
Yeah, it is something we are considering though, is how the off-season perspective will work for GMs. But yeah, I mean, at least at the moment, in terms of player count, like I mentioned earlier from Sans' suggestion, we did add players that have filled an interest form on there. So if you go on the season 11 public player sheet, you can see which of your players have resigned or at least have submitted an interest form, and then you can see whether A, they've been accepted, B, they're still pending for some reason. They're below games, they're need an epic tracker, whatever it may be. They could be pending. I think there was last status is if they left the Discord or are banned for whatever reason, which hopefully is not too many people that build an interest form. But you can see that from there, and yeah, we'll definitely let you guys know as soon as if there's any more changes coming to MMRs or to any sort of re-signing decisions and all that sort of stuff. But there will be re-signing decisions, and I guess as I'm sure you guys have kind of seen, we do have picks going through season 15. So something we are definitely considering is more than likely bringing back the full reset once again. I think a lot of people enjoyed the full reset, and I think it brought a lot of craziness. So full reset, I'd say is a pretty good chance it will be coming back down the line. So I would think that with the full reset would be after season 15, I believe. So season 16 for the full reset. So definitely something that could be coming back for sure. All right. How many players are on a team total? Slash, are there limits to plays who plays X amount of times in a season, or can you play every week? Someone want to take this one for me?
Yep. So there are currently four players on a team. Um, I know that UR makes you play a certain amount of games with your sub. We do not limit that here. You can play with whoever's available on your roster any given week. And there are 2 games every week, once on Monday and once on Wednesday.
Yep. Nice. That answers that one. Um, this is partially trolled, but I think it's good to include because it is something to talk about. He says, "Whoa, me getting reverse swept on stream being game of the season." So yeah, that is something that will be coming out. We don't have it officially listed in schedule, but that is something that will be coming out in the off season. Is the season 11 awards? We're still determining how exactly we're gonna go about this one. I would love to have it back on stream like we've had in the past with the award show, but it may be one of those things where um, we do it either via social media or via the Discord, something along those lines again. But yeah, we will more than likely be reaching out to donors to get their perspective on some award winners. It's always good to get some more perspective on who people think should win the awards. Obviously, we have good ideas who we think should win, but it's always good to get some community feedback. So if you're a donor, stay tuned. We'll give you guys a little bit of info on that and show how you guys can nominate some people for awards coming up soon. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, hopefully we can get the award show going on Twitch again. Although Twitch did just give us a big hurdle to overcome right now. I guess I'll just talk about this because it was kind of something that came up last minute. But Twitch is now limiting the amount of past broadcasts we can store on the channel. They're limiting us down to only 100 hours of past broadcasts. And right now, we've been using past broadcasts to store the entire the entire history of Nemesis streams on there. So currently, we're at over 1,100 hours of past broadcasts, and essentially we need to limit it down to 100. So that's also, we just found that out today, and it's going to take a bit of time for that. It might have to be one of our main focuses here, is to try to preserve these VODs. Otherwise, essentially, after 2 months, Twitch is going to start deleting past highlights off the Twitch channel. So if we don't get down below 100 hours, they're just going to start deleting highlights, starting by the least amount of views. So yeah, that's kind of unrelated to this, but I guess kind of related to our off-season plans. This is just a wrench we just found out about today. So yeah, we might be recruiting some people from the community to try to help us and figure out exactly what we're gonna do about that. But yeah, it's a big hurdle for sure right there. So yeah. Sand says, well, I don't know if I should read this out loud, but Sand says there might be a way to move it all to YouTube, which could be good. To automate it all to YouTube, which would be nice. But yeah, we'll definitely be focusing on the big streams first. But yeah, if there is a way to just move them all to YouTube, maybe we have to hit Sans bar up. I haven't talked with Mallow about it, so he might know the coding side of things too. But it's good to know. All right. Can we get a running list of everyone signed up for next season? Seeing the player count for next season is nice, similar to what you've done, but include PRF peoples. Yeah, that could be possible to include the PRF people as well. Maybe that would be better to include that, and not just the interest form players, but everyone that signed up. It would take me a little bit, but I'll take a look and see what I can do about that one. See if we can code it up. It shouldn't be too difficult. But yeah, I'll take a look and see what we can do about that to get a full number. Everyone always wants their infos. So let's see. So okay, says will the full reset then be every 5 seasons instead of 10, like it's past time? So like 1 to 10 is a full reset, and you're doing 11 to 15 then reset. Would it also be 16 to 20? Yeah, that's kind of the idea at the moment. I know we never done a full reset until we got to season 10. We kind of wanted to do it as like a, we hit the big milestone, double digits. Where does that take us? And that's what we decided with the full reset. But I think we got so far great feedback. I guess if you guys are here and you haven't filled out the feedback form, please do. We got a lot of great feedback from you guys. Those are kind of one of the things we've been looking at a lot in between seasons, is your feedback on the feedback forums. And so far, we got a lot of great feedback about the full reset. So I think it's something we want to include probably every 5 seasons or so, kind of like you said. So yeah, finish season 15, and then a full reset, and then same thing going forward. So that's kind of the rough plan as it is right now. Obviously, I guess something to consider about that too is with the full resets, 5 seasons ends up being like 2.5 years. So it is quite a ways down the line, the next full reset. But obviously we don't have any plans to be stopping before then. But definitely something to look at here for sure. Sand says, I'd be very surprised if any of the current GMs step down. Is anyone getting fired? I don't know how to answer that one. If anyone wants to step in, and I guess it is kind of a troll question, but if anyone wants to ask about how the GM process goes in between the off season into the next season.
Yeah, so once a season, every off season, we like to have a GM evaluation. Just getting every GM to sit down, talk to the management team, talk about how the season went, see any sort of insight there. So that is, if you want to get fired from GM, a very good way to do that is to not attend those GM evaluations. But other than that, is anybody getting fired? Hopefully not. Not to my knowledge. So
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's another reminder to the GMs on that note. Make sure your players are filling out the GM evaluations from news. If you don't have enough evaluations, that could look poorly on your ability to return as a GM. Um, Again, it's up to, like DJ said, we do those exit interviews with the GMs to to talk with you about your feedback from your players. And reminder players, that's all anonymous. So your GM is not going to see, oh, Mealy was, saying that I really sucked at scheduling, or something like that. So it's all anonymous. We just kind of give the GMs the general feedback from those evaluations. So I highly encourage you to fill them out. Whether you liked your GM or disliked your GM, it's good to know because we use that to determine whether the GM will be able to return for the next season. And then, yeah, like DJ said, if you don't show up to those exit interviews, you might not make it to next season. So GMs, be ready. We'll be talking about those. We're gonna give everyone a fair chance to make it to the exit interviews, but make sure your players are filling out the evaluations and yeah. But I don't think I think every season at least we've always had at least one GM opening in every season. But I think we do have a really good bunch of GMs right now. So I kind of agree with Sands. I'd be a little bit surprised if any of them step down, but it always happens. So I guess if you're interested in being a GM, fill out the application as well. All right. Next one says, when will the next charity stream be? That is a great question. Um, so yeah, that's something we haven't quite mapped out on our radar. I know we used to have those charity streams happen in December, right after Christmas time. They worked out a lot better before because I was able to stream them pretty much the day after Christmas for a couple of years in a row there. We kind of pushed them off a little bit because my job didn't really allow me to be able to do those long sort of streams anymore. But it would be nice to get a charity stream back going again. I think if we do the next charity stream, we'll probably aim for around the same time. Like Christmas time is always a good time with how the past charity streams have went. So I think if we do end up doing a next charity stream, it'll probably be in that same window around the end of December, right after Christmas, I would say. So, all right. Next one says, is there a thought of whether or not to remove the ability to trade a player between teams to bypass the draft, or potential to remove the limit of one and allow multiple? I don't know if anyone else wants to jump in and give their thoughts on this one, maybe.
So the way I've always seen that is kind of like a reflection on the NFL with their franchise tag. Um, I think that if we allow multiple, it would be a little bit broken and make the draft ultimately pretty pointless. But I think either limit it to one or to none still puts an emphasis on the draft while giving the GMs a little bit of flexibility to still do what they want to do with their teams.
Yeah, I know we did limit that to the one trade, I believe, one player trade in the off season. So we do kind of have that um we do have that in the pocket. But yeah, it could be something. I mean, we allowed it just to, I guess, kind of give what does it say? I mean, we limited it from what it used to be in the past, where players could just get kind of traded willy nilly. So we kind of limited it down to make it one player and you know just call it that. So, but it is a good point to consider. Obviously, like DJ said, we want our focus to be on the draft. So, but trading players, that's also something we're talking about along the same lines as re-signing decisions. It's kind of one of those things where it's on the same line, something we're thinking about, something we're considering for next season, if we should allow a certain amount of resigns, if we should limit resigns, keep resigns completely open. And then on the same end, any trades, how should we go about that? But that's something we're discussing, and as soon as we have more info, we'll definitely let you guys know on that front. And then I guess the next question also kind of got answered in that regard. Is there going to be a max amount of players on a team that can resign? If not right now, that's something that might happen in the middle of a full reset seasons. Yeah, again, that's something we're discussing. As soon as we know, we'll let you guys know, because obviously that's a big strategy point for GMs. But we're kind of in the very early discussions of how that's going to work. But if we do limit resigns, we'll definitely let you guys know ASAP. All right. Next one says, what happens to players who want to stay within their org, but the org does not have a team in that league? Is there a possibility to put on loan for a season to another org? That is interesting. Anyone else have any thoughts on this one? Just, I guess, again, these are now that we're getting kind of the questions that are coming up at random. These are just kind of our personal thoughts on the point.
It's kind of like, does it mean like kind of like trading, like a player? Like I guess Ventus could be an example. He's on my team, and he might be moving up to Titan, so it's like trying to trade him to a specific team, so a Titan team, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think it'd be like I'm assuming it'd be like if you were a Titan player, if you were, in Ventus's case, if you were on the rival team of of Aeronautics, and then you moved up to Titan MMR. I guess the question is whether or not like you could be loaned out to another Titan team for that season, and then I guess Aeronautics
Oh,
would still have the rights to get you after that season, or something along those lines. I'm assuming, at least that's what that is trying to say.
it sounds interesting. I wouldn't
Yeah.
know. Yeah,
So forgive me for being a little sick. DJ's power went out. But as of right now, that's not in our current plans. I do understand the concept, kind of like how in the Premier League or pretty much any soccer, you can loan a player out and then get them back after X amount of time. That the problem with that is we don't know what season 13's player count will be. So we don't know if that player will end up eventually back on that org. So at least for the time being, that's not in our current plans, but it could be a possibility in the future if we start getting larger amounts of player counts.
Yeah. Thank you, Shadow. I think that's a good way to put it. Yeah, but it is an interesting idea for sure. I don't think it's anything we've considered in the past about loaning, so I appreciate bringing it up. It'll be something we can definitely discuss, though. Next one says, could we add the season 12 interest form to info? Sure, we can do that. That should be simple enough. I know right now the big place for links is, or I guess the off-season links is the news channel, latest posts. But yeah, I can throw it in there so we can have it in info. So sweet. All right, I think we're caught up there. So, yeah, I guess we're caught up with all the questions right now. We didn't really even have to close the channel. We didn't have too many crazy questions. So, I guess now we'll kind of open up the floor. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, you can feel free to raise your hand to come up on the stage to ask your question. Or if you have any more questions, throw them into the Town Hall Questions channel. We can kind of go through them. If not, then we'll keep it open. The whole thing is for you guys to bring up questions, but if needed, we can talk about some of our plans as well in the off season. Looks like Krates has a question. Bring you up to the stage.
Hey, excuse me, I was late and this is probably redundant. Did Smith's question ever get answered about like the format of RLCS ever being a possibility?
Yes, we did. We did discuss that one, but I can go through it again.
Okay.
Just
Thank you very much.
yeah, no problem. Yeah, so that question right now we're not really looking for any big major changes to the format of the league at the moment. I'll just kind of give like a quick answer, but we're not currently looking at the to make a big change to the format. We kind of like the league play aspect of Nemesis with the regular season and playoffs. So yeah, short answer, not at the moment. But if you want to hear the longer answer, we are live streaming the VOD, so you can watch it back on Twitch after if you want to hear more of the long form answer about it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem. All right. Let's answer the question of the trackers being available. Yeah, we answered that one as well. Short answer: check the season 11 public player sheet. The answer is yes, they are available and visible. Okay, we got another question from Ventus. It's a good one here. I like this question.
Yes.
Is there going to be more focus on YouTube items such as stream highlights in the upcoming season and attempt to grow other socials besides Twitch? Can also apply to TikTok and X. I know Shadow's a little sick, but maybe you can answer this one since it kind of falls under your.
Yeah, I got you. So one of the most largest priorities that we have as a whole for the upcoming seasons is to revigorate our socials teams. Everything that we want to do in terms of growing the league kind of starts with socials. We want to revigorate the teams. We want to make them more than just the team lead and the oversight, which is what it is currently. And we want to get posting daily on a lot of these like TikTok and X, like you mentioned. I know the YouTube side falls under a different team, but if we can get going more on our socials, we can then reach out to like different companies or content creators and start like partnerships or sponsorships where we can then get the league to grow even further that way. So that is a major priority for us coming up.
Sure. Amelia, do you have anything to add on the YouTube front about? I guess you could talk about some of the things we might be working on in the off season with YouTube.
Sure. I did want to add on too, and I don't know if he said this, so I apologize if I'm repeating it. But with that said, we'd love to have more people on board, just in general, throughout all these teams. Something I want to, mention is that the social teams, the YouTube team, editing team, even the graphics team, like all of these media teams, as it falls under, we all work together on a lot of these projects. So if you're interested in one realm or the other, you can still really be of benefit to any of these projects that we're thinking of or that we would love to implement that include or would be a lot easier to have 5 to 7 people working on at one time instead of, like Shadow said, just kind of 2 people between the team lead and management oversight. But yeah, like there's a lot of different things that I know we've talked about behind the scenes so far between some of the teams. I know News Team has had a couple of different really good ideas as well and things they want to bring back. But yeah, the only thing I really wanted to add on is that we could really benefit from having a lot more positions filled so we can all work together on this.
Yeah. No,
I'll add on to that real quick. Is that even if you're not like, you don't have to be like creative at all. It's like, I think just in my opinion, I think like the socials and YouTube side of it just seems like like the most fun part. Like, I mean, like it's just a very fun group to be a part of. Like you can, it's almost like you can free willy nilly. You can like, because we're so short on socials and stuff like that, like as current like previous seasons, that it's just like we just want to get stuff out there. And I mean, you don't have to be this super creative person. You could just just invent stuff and write stuff. I don't know. It's just, I think it's a super fun way to. You don't have to. I just don't think it's required to be any creative. If you don't think you're creative, just have fun with it. Seems pretty fun.
Yeah, and if you ever need ideas too, like if it's if you're kind of on the fence, like that's like Amelia said, a lot of the media teams work together and they come up with ideas together. Media. It's like one team, but it's split up into like 6 different branches that we have of the media team. So they really do work together, and it's something that if you're struggling with one thing, you can reach out to the media team, and I think a lot of times we can really work together. And yeah, I think socials is a huge another huge goal of ours in the off season. is getting back to being current on that, because excuse me, that's one of the ways to continue to grow the league going forward. So we definitely need to focus hard on that. Socials and other media as well. So yeah, if you're able to just help, even if it's a little bit, like I said, the more people we have, helping out, the easier we can spread the workload. I know we know everyone's all volunteering to help, so any help is very much appreciated. But the more people that help, the easier it is to keep the community running, keep the community growing, and allowing us to continue to provide great content for you guys and for anyone else that might be watching or playing. So yeah. All right, next one we got another one from LK. With it being the off season, obviously the whole point is to wait to trade, but would it ever be available to trade picks and players during the off season for some GMs, or for, I guess, for those who want to get early or get things done early, or try to get plans in early? So to answer this one, it could be a possibility. Right now, we limit a lot of trading and whatnot during the actual off season itself, because there's a lot of moving parts with leagues changing. It's not as simple as maybe some other professional leagues where the teams are going to stay the same every season, and they're gonna draft the amount of play, like the players aren't going to change leagues. Like if you think about the NBA, like you know like LeBron James isn't just going to start going to the G League next season, and that's obviously a big like with our players moving around, it adds a lot of question marks. So we try to like limit some of the off-season chaos to trading picks and players, just to kind of keep things simple for us and for everyone in general. So not at the moment, but it could be possible, sure. With that being said, maybe open up a trade window as soon as MMRs are released. Yeah, I believe that is once the format is released, then yeah, the trade window does open up for players at least, because there's resigns and players. Did we allow draft picks in previous seasons? I can't remember off the top of my head. We've had a lot of rule changes. I feel like I'm getting more forgetful of the rule changes as we go on. I can't remember if we could trade the picks. I think we can trade. We could trade picks. Maybe any GMs can correct me. I think once the format is released, you could trade picks. But
Yeah, I think so. Just last couple seasons has been the reset and no picks, of course.
yeah, that's true.
I
It
think
was
season 10 though. Season 9 you could.
I believe so. Um, but yeah, it is something we could consider. I think for now we're trying to keep it as it is. The off season is still, like, all things considered, the off season is still, it's a long off season, on from the player side and like the player movement side of things. It's gonna be very short on the staff side of things. I know that's how it always goes. But yeah, it is a long ways away for the players to just sort that stuff out. But it is something we could possibly consider. I think for now we'll likely be keeping it how we have it, though. I guess Shadow kind of answered this the question from Crates in the town hall chat. But yeah, no. To kind of jump on this point, since it wasn't asked in there, just so we have it in the VOD as well. But the question was, are any thoughts about adding new orgs if the league grew enough? Definitely a possibility, something we could consider. If the league does continue to grow, we would definitely love to add more teams and add more orgs potentially in the future. Something big we have to focus on in the offseason too, along with our socials, is recruiting more people. Hopefully we can get back to 16 full teams in every league, and then hopefully bring back provisional as well. It is a summer season coming up, which is always fun. I know the summer season's always bringing a bit more players than usual. So yeah, definitely recruit your friends, and yeah, we'd love to get some more orgs for sure. I know the highest we had was we had the 5 leagues with 16 teams, and we had 8 in provisional, which was nice, and we'd love to get 16 in provisional too. And I think from there could be a possibility to add more orgs in each league depending on how things shook out. So yeah, definitely possibility. All right, we got about 13 more minutes left. So if anyone has any more questions, feel free to drop them in. We'll be here for the next 13 minutes regardless. But yeah, if you guys got any more questions, feel free to throw them. Otherwise, maybe we can do a little bit of leaking, talk about some stuff, some plans in the works. I'll give it a sec if anyone has any questions to add. All right, I think we might be fresh out of question with all the people we have here. So, but that's all right. Let's see. What can we discuss here in the meantime? Should we leak some things? What can we leak? Let's look at our off-season roadmap here. Talk about some things. I guess managers, any plans you guys think for the staff teams that we're working on? I know we talked about socials a little bit. I know immediately we have some goals for YouTube. We could probably talk a little bit about them if you don't mind.
Yeah, so there's only a couple of us with the whole video editing thing, especially with the YouTube. As previously mentioned before, one of the goals, especially for the off season, that's gonna be kind of important, is to be transferring a lot of those Twitch VODs over. But more interestingly, I guess I'll say, we want to try to do a couple revamp jobs to some of the more notable features, I guess, of Nemesis. One of which I will say is we are really looking to update finally after like 4 seasons the what is it, the channel intro, whatever, for the Twitch channel.
Are you talking about the trailer on the channel?
The trailer, yeah, from season 7.
It's a little bit outdated.
Yeah. With that said, something else that we feel, albeit it's good and it's a classic, but we're looking at potentially starting to the process and maybe making a new hype video for Nemesis for streams. That thing, or that would be pretty interesting as well, and quite a big project, but we're kind of excited about that one as well.
Yeah, for sure. Those are two of the big things we're looking at in the off season as well, which would be kind of exciting. So thank you, Mealy. We did get another question too. Any word on when the awards will be announced? I'm just curious to see who won what. We don't have a specific date. Like I said, we're trying to see if we can get back to the awards show on Twitch. If not, we'll be announcing them maybe via socials. Kind of revamp some socials. That could be a good, easy couple posts on socials to kind of revamp things to start. So that could be a possibility, or back on Twitch. But yeah, we do have. I mentioned it earlier. We do have a big task ahead of us that might limit our YouTube side video editing capabilities, which is finding a way to preserve all of our VODs and footage. We have to cut down from 1,100 hours to 100 hours, so we have to cut down 1,000 hours of footage off the Twitch channel. Otherwise, it's just gonna be purged into oblivion. So yeah, that'll be that'll be interesting. But yeah, we'll definitely let you guys know once we're planning on releasing the awards. But that'll be coming very soon, hopefully in the next couple weeks with awards, or at least the idea of, or I guess the direction we're going with the award show. So stay tuned on that front. Yeah. Let's see what else. What else can we talk about on here? Let's see if there's anything else that's interesting. Ooh, this could be interesting. Could be interesting. I know the donors may have seen it, but it's been something that's been kind of in the works for a while. But I've been working on the last couple days fantasy project for Nemesis. So kind of like how we do fantasy football with like the NFL. Um, created a fantasy sheet within Nemesis, so it could be something that we could possibly have for season 12. I think we'll probably having it for season 12 is fantasy, so players will be able to compete in the fantasy leagues and with actual Nemesis players, which will kind of be cool. Something to look forward to if you like fantasy aspect of things. I think we have a decent setup to kind of get it started out for the start of things, but can I actually oh my gosh, wait, this didn't used to be a thing. I think I can actually share my screen on the stage. Should I leak this? I'll leak it. I'll leak it in the Discord. Here, one sec. Let me grab this thing. I don't think I can actually do this, but for everyone that's here, show you guys this real quick. Let me do that. Aha, it does let me do that. All right, so yeah, pretty much we got a fantasy thing going with 8 teams. Kind of the idea is 3 per league at the moment, including provisional on there for now. But eventually, you'd have 15 people on your roster, and we would take the top 7 of each to give kind of your best score of the week. So to kind of limit the amount of work that the moderation team or any other team would have to do. Then you'd play against another team each week, and then yeah, eventually you get to the semifinals and championship week. But kind of a cool thing that could be coming. Um, it's obviously there's still some more stuff that's in the works with that, but that's just kind of a small little preview there about that.
Hey, Rockerman, I have a question.
Yeah.
Regarding fantasy, and without going too much into it, of course, but I saw, there's 8 teams. Would you be, open to doing, if enough people were interested, like multiple divisions or leagues, if you will? You know what I mean? So it'd be like an 8-team league, and then say you had 16 people interested, you could do 2 different 8-team leagues.
Yes, yeah, definitely. I think we could probably, well, I guess depending on how it goes, but obviously we need a little manpower, but we could definitely work out a couple of different leagues. So kind of like how we did for the football fantasy. Um, have like a Titan league, a rival league, prospect league, however many leagues we can get within it. But yeah, no, we definitely want to expand it beyond more than just 8 people competing in it. Hopefully, because I feel like this could get a lot more interest than even our fantasy football does. So, the biggest struggle will be managing the teams each week, having a set of people that can manage the teams each week. But I would love to have more people be involved, and um, yeah, maybe it could even be possible to expand it beyond 8 teams for one league in this fantasy aspect. Obviously, not everyone would play each other, which would be the big the big caveat with that. But I don't know. There's some possibilities. We're beta. We're beta right now, so yeah, it could be a possibility. All right, we're down to the last couple minutes. We got another question though from LK. Could you just post the finals every season? It's sum up and show the finished all season. Plus, you have a bit more room for future seasons with only take around 50 hours out of 100. Yeah, that's kind of I think where we're gonna go is just try to get at least the finals on there on Twitch because that's a place where people can watch them. I think what's gonna kind of suck too. Actually, I don't know if the chat doesn't necessarily stay on the highlights, but yeah, we're gonna really have to figure out how we're gonna narrow it down. Like I said, this is kind of something that just came up today. Like Twitch literally just announced this today that we got 2 months to clean up all of our highlights. Apparently, according to that post, according to their thing, only 0.5% of creators have more than 100 hours of highlights. So go us, top 0.5%. But on the other hand, not go us. That's we're one of the ones that are affected by this. So yeah, we're really gonna have to figure out how we're gonna narrow it down. But yeah, it might just have to be grand finals, and then I mean long term too. You think about it. I mean, 100 hours. That's what you get an hour times by 5. I mean, it's maybe 25 seasons, I think, or less than that, 20 seasons of grand finals you could even fit on there if they're all just exactly an hour long. So yeah, it's kind of a disappointing announcement from Twitch. I ain't gonna lie. Um, but that just means we're gonna have to find other ways to archive content for you guys, and I guess it's gonna probably lean more into YouTube, um, for saving highlights and VODs and stuff. Question says, "What will be the game mode of the fantasy?" So the idea is to have it just be best ball. So you'd have 15 players on your roster, and then we would just take the top like 7 or so for the fantasy. That's kind of the idea, because otherwise, we're probably limiting the amount of roster moves you can make each week, just to keep it simple. Because otherwise, obviously, there's a lot of moving pieces that could happen, and if you have to pick your players, that week, that could also get a little bit confusing. So we're probably just gonna take best ball of your best 15 players. Take the top 7. So yeah. All right. That's just about it. Looks like Ventus has his hand to ask one question. All right, we'll take a last question here before we wrap things up. I'll bring you up to the stage, Mr. Ventus.
Oh, hello.
There you go. How's it going?
Hi. All right. Basically, I was wondering. So for the fantasy stuff, this is, I guess, I'm looking for more leakage. Is it going to be something where you are drafting a player and nobody else can have that player, or can multiple people pick the same players in the league and kind of just try to build the best lineup they can each week? Like, is it going to be more of like actual fantasy where you can't have other people's players, or is it going to be like there can be 3 different teams with Ventus on it?
Yeah. So yeah, no, I got you. Yeah. So right now the idea is to have it be more of the traditional fantasy where only one team could have that player, essentially. It's a little easier on the formulas for us, I think, for the at least the current setup. If only one team can have one team can have one player, so keep it 1-to-1. That's kind of the idea for now. But yeah,
Cool.
sweet. Alrighty, well, I think that's gonna wrap it up. We've been here for about an hour, so we'll wrap it up right here. But yeah, again, thanks everyone for tuning in, asking all your questions. We always appreciate the questions, and everyone else that was tuning in to the town hall. So yeah, thank you guys very much. Stay tuned for more. I guess more info, more off-season events. I know the Continental Clash is coming up soon, so if you guys aren't involved in that already, definitely get involved in that Continental Clash. It's always a fun event. I like that we brought it back with Flame and the rest of the tournament events team. So yeah, make sure you guys get tuned in for that and stay tuned for more info. We'll definitely be talking more in the off season about some more stuff. So yeah. Alrighty, well, everyone, that's wrapping it up. So thank you all for hanging out, and we'll see you guys later.